We know that we have a couple of people that are here tonight that were not this morning, or not here this morning, but everything that I say tonight will make sense because this is kind of a standalone message, but it's based on the same text that we talked about this morning, and so we're going to kind of pick up with where we left off. We know for 40 days, 40 nights, Goliath was sitting in the valley, and he has defied God, he has mocked God, he's mocked the Israelites' God. He said that he's not existent, all these things, bad things about God. The armies of Saul, the armies of Israel, they're terrified as they hear Goliath make all these remarks. They don't know what to do. They're afraid, they're traumatized. And David, as we know, has already been anointed to be king. He has come there to the valley to bring his brothers some supplies. His father Jesse is in there to bring some supplies. So he hears all these things. So he thinks, I'm not going to let anybody talk about my God that way. I'm going to do something. And so David told Saul, I'll go out and fight this Philistine. Now, you remember I said this morning, when David said that, he had confidence in God. Sometimes confidence in the Lord can be taken as cockiness. David was not really cocky, but he had that much confidence in God. Now, tonight, we do not face a physical giant that's 9 feet tall, but all of us will face some giants in our life. And sometimes we face these giants in our life, we're terrified because, as I said this morning, as I called Malachi up here, and I said, if he had to fight me, he would be terrified because I'm so much taller, older, bigger. And so when we face these giants, we're often terrified. Now, tonight, I want us to think about some things to remember when we face these giants. Now, I said this morning, giants are not just physical. Sometimes they can be emotional giants. They can be all kinds of giants that we face in our life. But tonight, if we will remember these 4 things, I'll be very simple tonight, but we'll remember them when we face these giants, it will help us in our life. Now, the first thing that David did in facing Goliath was he remembered how God helped him in the past. In other words, it builds my confidence when I recall or when I look back and recollect, when I remember the ways that God has helped me in the past, it gives me confidence in the future. Somebody asked to use this analogy one time. They said, elephants can be frightened. If somebody said that you had to eat an elephant, do you think you could eat an elephant? Somebody asked the question then, how would you eat an elephant if you're going to eat an elephant? Well, chomp by chomp, bite by bite. In other words, if you look at the whole big elephant, you're going to be overwhelmed. So you got to look at each individual bite and center in on that. So David, what he did was, he got to thinking, he said, God helped me numerous times in the past when I had these feelings, when I faced these challenges, that I can fill up to the task, and God led me through those. And because God helped me in the past, I know He's going to help me in the future. You can probably remember back times in your life where you thought you could not make it. You thought maybe you were almost at wit's end and you did not know what to do. It could be in a hospital room. It could be in a classroom. It could be any place else. You did not know what you were going to do. But God came through. I don't know why I was just thinking about this back in 1986. We received a call and Trish's dad would have been in the hospital. They got a heart cath. Determined they had to have bypass surgery. And so we made the trip to Columbia, South Carolina. We were standing out there. He was back in surgery, and someone from surgery came out and said, y'all, we've got all kinds of difficulties. We don't think he's going to make it. He's got internal bleeding, and we cannot stop the bleeding, and we don't know what to do. So we just want to let y'all know he may not make it. Well, that was traumatizing. And Trish's older brother had everybody gather up in a circle, hold hands. I still remember this prayer this day. And sometimes I pray this prayer in a situation like that. I remember he said, God, you know what we want. Well, you know what you want. You want your loved one to get well. You want your loved one to come through surgery. And so he prayed that prayer. And just a little while later, the doctors came out. And they said, we got it stopped. It still kind of could be touch and go. But he made that. Well, a lot of times when I'm in a hospital room and I think about, a serious situation like that, I think, well, in that room there are people standing there, they did not think they could make that. Patricia hated to lose her dad. She thought they hated to lose her dad there. But God gave her strength, and God helped her through that. I remember back when my dad died, I was very close to my dad, and it was a very difficult time in my life. I don't talk about it a lot, but very difficult time in my life. I didn't grieve. He died in October. I didn't grieve until the spring when the farmers started going to the field. All these memories started coming back to me about, farming and stuff like that. And I remembered, I said, well, Trish's mother died at 96, and I was rough on her. She made it. God gave her strength. God's going to give me strength. And that's how I thought about it. Because remember how He helped me back in the past, and I knew that He's going to help me in the future. And so sometimes we need to remember how God also helps us in those little times. Not just the big things in life, but He helps us in those little times in our life. And so I know that He helps me when in those little times. I know that He's going to be there for me in the big times out there in the future. How do I know that? God never changes. God's love is always constant. God loves me as much today as He did 20 years ago. He's going to love me 20 years from now as much as He loves me today, because His love is constant. So if you know He helped you in the past, you know He's going to help you in the future. If He helped you in the little things, then you know He's going to help you in the big things. So if you face giants, remember how God helped you in the past. Number 2. I didn't read verse 36. I was going to go back and read verse 36, and I forgot. Look at chapter 17, verse 36. This is what David said. I've done this to both lions and bears. I'll do it to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. So David, when he looked at Goliath, he said, God helped me fight a lion. God helped me fight a bear. I was scared. Wouldn't you be scared if you fought a lion and a bear? David was scared. He said, God helped me defeat that lion. God helped me defeat that bear. And so he looked at Goliath and he said, Goliath reminds me of that lion and that bear. God helped me back then. He's going to help me now. Number 2. I must use the tools what God's given me now. In other words, when we're facing situations, we don't wait for things that we don't have. We have to use what God has given us right then. In other words, I may say, well, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough education. I don't have enough connections. I don't have enough opportunities. I don't have this or I don't have that. No, God always looks at us and says, use the tools that you have right now. In other words, I can't use something that I don't have. David, what did he have in his hand? He had a sling. He used the tool that he had. He didn't use something that he did not have. He didn't say, I wish I had something else. He used exactly what God has given him. And so when we face challenges in life, we can't center in on what we do not have. We've got to center in and think about what we do have. Now, there's some people who are just waiting for something to happen. Well, you don't wait for your ship to come in. You swim out to it. There's a lot of folks that will say, young couples, well, I'm going to wait till we get more money to have kids. Well, let me be honest. You're never going to have enough money to have kids. You just have them. And then you deal with it once they come. Because you're never going to have enough. But you count on God. And so you use the tools that God's given you. Now notice, David goes to Saul, and Saul says, okay, David, I got this plan. This is what you need to do. You need to use this armor. Now, this is what we forget sometimes. David was young. David was not a very big man. But when you go back and read the description of Saul, it says Saul was a very big man. Can you imagine me putting on a suit of a 300 or 400 pound man? What's going to happen? My arms are going to be way up here. Everything's going to be in the way. You can't fight. You can't do things the way you need to do. And so Saul said, David, put on the armor. Well, David looked and said, Saul, this is too big. This is too heavy. I'm not used of this armor. I'm not comfortable wearing it. And now let's look at our scripture. Look at verse 38 through 40. Notice what he says. Then Saul gave David his own armor, a bronze helmet, and a coat of mail. David put it on, strapped the sword over it, took a step or two to see what it was like, for he had never worn such a thing before. And so notice, David said, I've never had this on. And then notice he says, I can't go in these things, he protested to Saul. I'm not used to them. So David took them off again. Look at verse 40. He went down and picked up 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in a shepherd's bag, then armed only with the shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistines. So David said, Saul, I'm not using your armor. I'm going to use this sling. Now, what was David's dream? David's dream was to kill Goliath. Saul had trouble with that dream because when he finally allowed David to fight Goliath, Saul is saying, you go after your dream, you go after fighting Goliath my way. You do it on my way. And David said, no, Saul, I'm going to fight Goliath. I'm doing it my way. In other words, there's a lot of folks who are going to try to convince you to do certain things their way, but you have to do it the way God tells you to do it, not the way somebody else does it. Now, this is what gets me sometimes with churches. You'll see a church somewhere, and they'll do something, they'll do a program, and it's working fine in that church, and all of a sudden you're going to have to be bombarded with folks saying, we need to do that program in our church. Well, sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't. Just because we work in one church does not mean that we need to do it in our church, because it may not work here. Every church has to decide if things are right for them, if programs are right for them, or a way of doing certain things is right in that particular location. We never need to do something just because another church is doing it. We need to do it because that's what God wants our church to do. That's what God's laying on our heart and equipped us to do. And so that's one of the biggest mistakes many churches have made. Now, every day, though, we see the Saul armor syndrome in business. For instance, there are folks out there who say, well, businesses are doing it this way, so I need to do it that way with my business. Well, God made us who we are. And we need to listen to what God says to us individually and not try to copy or to mimic what somebody else is doing, because it's like trying to wear Saul's armor. It's too big. It doesn't fit. We can't wear it. Why? Because we're not Saul. And so we need to use the tools that God's given us, the tools that we have in our hands. Look at Ecclesiastes 11:4. I think that's the right verse. Farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. They watch every cloud. They never harvest. In other words, we need to do things our way, what God tells us to do. Number 3. The third thing that David did is I call this, he ignored the dream busters. We talked about how there's always somebody out there who's going to try to squash your dream or to put down your dream. So notice, when David's going to take on the giant that everybody's scared to death to take on, notice this, David did not get encouragement from anybody. There's nobody out there saying, David, you can do this. All David heard was from the professionals, from the experts, David, you can't do it. He had no one to encourage him on any facet. Not a single word of encouragement went out. Now think about this. His dad didn't encourage him. Jesse didn't encourage him. His brothers didn't encourage him. You know, when he was just talking about what's going on out there, his older brother said, David, why don't you tend to those few sheep? So his older brother did not encourage him. The army, the soldiers were scared to death of Goliath. They didn't encourage him. The King Saul, whose reputation was on the line, he didn't encourage David. Nobody anywhere gave David any type of encouragement. So what did David do? He had to encourage himself in the Lord. Look at 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. David was now, this is another time, David was now in great danger because all his men were bitter about losing their sons and daughters, and David began to talk of stoning David. Now notice, they lost a battle, so they lost their sons and daughters, so now they're thinking it's David's fault. They're thinking about stoning David. But notice what David did. David found his strength, and the Lord is God. What is that verse telling us? Sometimes nobody encourages us. So we have to get our encouragement before the Lord. We just have to go before the Lord and say, Lord, I'm down in the dumps as low as a snake in a wagon wheel's rut. There's nobody that's encouraged me. And God, you're my encouragement. God, I'm going to count on you to encourage me because I'm doing what you've asked me to do. David said, you told me to fight Goliath. Everybody's negative. And I know that's what you want me to do. And so, God, I'm counting on you to encourage me. So David found his encouragement in the Lord. Now, sometimes when somebody faces problems, Somebody may walk up and say, you know, the sun's going to come out tomorrow. Well, have a nice day. I know you got problems, but have a nice day. But you know, sometimes we're glad to hear those comments, but sometimes we need encouragement. But sometimes we have to encourage ourselves in the Lord. And the best encouraged person that can encourage us is the Lord. Because ultimately, everybody else can say nice words to somebody, but ultimately our encouragement has to come from the Lord Himself. Number 4. Notice what the 4th thing David did. David expected God to help him for his glory. Not for David's glory, but for God's glory. Now notice this is what David did. I love what David says to Goliath as he runs into the battlefield. Look down in chapter 17, verse 45. David replied to the Philistine, you come to me with sword, you come to me with a spear, you come to me with a javelin. But notice, I come to you in the name of the Lord our God, of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. So listen, you have mocked my God, so I want you to know I'm coming to get you in His name for His glory, because I'm not going to allow somebody to say things about my God the way you have. So David says I'm coming in His strength. And then notice what he also says in verse 46. Today the Lord will conquer you. Now notice David didn't say today I will conquer you. Today the Lord will conquer you, and I will kill you, and I will cut off your head. And you remember what Goliath said to David? Hold it right there, Jason. Just a minute. You remember what Goliath said? He looked at David and said, any man that comes out here and fight, the birds of the air is going to eat your body. But notice what David says to him. Then I will give the dead bodies of your men to the birds and wild animals, and the whole world would know that there's a God in Israel. So David said, I'm not doing this for myself. If I love God enough, I've got confidence in my God, nobody's going to defile Him, and nobody's going to talk about my God the way you have. And so I want you to know today, He's going to give me to you, or He's going to let me take care of business here today in this valley. You're going down, big dude, today. Now the question is, what are you expecting God to do in your life? Without knowing this, I can say this. God is doing exactly what you expect Him to do in your life. There's a lot of Christians who don't expect God to do much in their life. And guess what? He doesn't do much. But when you expect God to do something in your life, He's going to work in your life. Every time God moves heaven and earth, every time God moves out of heaven and moves down to earth, He does a miracle. And why does He do that? It's because somebody believed in His strength and somebody believed in His confidence. David said, my confidence is not in myself. I don't have any myself. My confidence is in God. And I've got to take care of business. Because nobody's going to defy God. So I've got my faith in God. And so tonight, you have as much of God as you want. Is your faith in God? Now let's just look at some of these scriptures here. They're not on the screen of notes. According to what? Your faith, it shall be done. The just, or people who are saved, shall live by faith. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Whatever's not faith is what? Is sin. You get to choose tonight how much of God you want in your life. You get to choose how much God does in your life. It's based on what? How much you choose to trust Him. Now tonight, I don't have to be the smartest person in the world. I don't have to be the best looking person in the world. I don't have to be the wealthiest person in the world. I have a choice tonight to trust God, and you do too. And when we get situations, I expect God to help me for His honor and for His glory. Now, somebody wrote this and says, you have no idea how much your unbelief could be limiting somebody you love. Is your unbelief limiting your wife? Is your unbelief limiting your husband? Is your unbelief limiting your child? Tonight, we don't need to be like David's father, Jesse. You remember Jesse? Anointed him king, Samuel anointed him king, and Jesse said, get back to tending those sheep. He could not believe that his son was experienced enough, was old enough, was wise enough to be the next king. So they said, get back there and tend those sheep. Now, don't hold somebody back. Don't hold somebody back when God has a great plan for their life. You see, God has a plan for every person's life. Don't hold somebody back from God's plan. You see, David says, God's plan, I go out and fight Goliath. Everybody out there tried to hold David back and say, David, you can't do it. You can't do it. But David went out and fought. And what happened? Goliath came down. And tonight, when we face challenges, when we face giants in our life, if we'll remember those four things, those giants will come down. They will fall. Some of you tonight may be facing a giant in your life. It may be all kinds of difficulties. It might be a giant we don't know about tonight. But those giants will come down when we trust God. Let's stand for word of prayer. Father, thank you for meeting us here tonight. And we know that we serve the same God today that David did, a powerful God. Thank you that you're my Lord, and that you're my Savior, and that you're my God. May we do everything that we do for your honor and for your glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Pass me not, O gentle Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. And yet by your own mercy, find a sweet relief, kneeling there in deep contrition, help my unbelief. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by.
Thank y'all for being here. Now, anybody need to say anything before we go? Last call. I'm going to ask Chris Leo, would you dismiss us in prayer?
Father, thank you this day for